Sega's 2024 financial year just ended a few weeks ago, and it was not good. So this is the financial period, the 365-day period that ended on May 31st. Now, during this financial year, Sega had a net loss of 6.6 billion yen, which translates to over 41 million US dollars. They also had a little over an 86% decline in their operating profit compared to the previous year. Now, this doesn't actually mean that Sega's games performed terribly. In fact, the sales of their games did quite well, according to these recent reports. Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot of their games they released in this financial year did pretty well. Persona 3 Reload, Football Manager 24, some Yakuza games, and I'm even seeing these reports say that Sonic Superstars performed well. In terms of sales, now, I have to say, I do actually disagree with that, because I do remember in the months that followed Sonic Superstars release, the sales were not good, and in fact, Sega themselves even came out in a business meeting and said, yeah, they acknowledged actually that, yeah, hey, this Sonic game did not perform well in terms of sales and we need to do better. So I disagree with the reports that are now saying that Sonic did well, but otherwise, all of these Sega games seem to perform well. They had decent sales, and yet this was a terrible financial year for Sega. So what happened? If the sales weren't bad, why was there this huge net loss? Well, it actually all comes down to business restructuring and canceled projects. As far as the restructuring goes, it was mainly Sega Europe that took a big hit. During this financial year, I am mainly looking at the sale of Relic Entertainment, which resulted in 240 job losses. Okay, actually now looking at it, reviewing what I'm seeing, it's more of a mixed bag. Relic Entertainment resulted in about 40 job losses, whereas Sega Europe in total had 240 job losses. And actually a big chunk of this was from a British studio called Creative Assembly. And speaking of, they had a cancellation of a huge game. It was supposed to be called Hyenas. It was going to be an FPS game. They canceled it late last year. So when you got this, plus a few other canceled projects by Sega within this last financial period, well, you ended up with a bunch of money that went into these projects that ended up getting canceled, and obviously ended up being just money wasted. So overall, it is very shocking to see these statistics, an 87% decline in profit, a net loss of over $40 million. It's a lot of scary numbers for a Sega fan. If you're a Sega fan, you might be hearing this and panicking. But like I said, overall, these games from Sega actually sold pretty well. So the only people that should probably be going into panic mode are fans specifically of Sega Europe. They didn't do too well in this last pay period, whereas rest assured, Sega in general did. Yakuza, Football Manager, Persona, and, well, I'm even seeing Sonic apparently all performed very, very well.